now Armando. Armando is reaching us from Mexico. Hi, Armando. Happy to have you here in our session of Latin America. Armando invested the last 20 years of his professional life leading Via Educación, a Mexico CSO that promotes effective education for democratic citizenship. He and his colleagues are convinced that education must help individuals achieve their highest potential, climb up the social ladder, and help them become better citizens. Via Education's motto is unleashing the potential of society to transform itself. The presentation of Armando will explore some of the opportunities and challenges in education in Latin America region with focus in Mexico, and how to help students to reach their fullest potential. I believe this is totally aligned with what you are bringing you to all of us so generously following. What are the roles of different stakeholders and the exciting opportunities to leapfrog inequality in education through re-signifying cohesion, commitment, and capacities to transform education and systems? So very much looking forward. The floor is with you, Armando, and hope that we have time for the two of you to talk with each other and the audience also. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ines. Thank you very much, Marlene, for your presentation, and thank you also, Len, for the invitation. I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate so much these questions that Len has put into this Equinox session on the Bildung movement. How do we cooperate? How do we rethink our human experience? What it means now? And what it means in society in the future, so everybody can thrive. So I feel like I found my tribe. So I'm very excited to now be part of this conversation too. And Len asked me to share some ideas on the scenario of Latin America in the Mexican context. So I will do some of that, and I will also try to connect with the conversation of Bildung and how these somehow are interrelated. And I also although I'm not coming from the research sort of world. I come from more of a practitioner work. I do some research. Actually, I had a chance to meet Lynn in a research initiative that we have had. So I'm going to talk a little bit on that as well. And I will divide this presentation in three different moments. So at first, I will share some background on the Latin American region. More specifically, I will put the eyes on the context of the Mexican education sector. And then I will tell you a little bit of my journey and the early connection with Bildung, and how did I sort of approach and I became a fan of the movement, and then some experiences of the last few years from the practitioner side. So as you may know, the context of Latin America is quite complex. So we face an era of tremendous economic inequality and poverty, with the highest levels of inequality in the world, and with some of the highest levels of poverty as well. We have also we are facing political instability and governance throughout the different countries in Latin America due to populism, to extreme right, to extreme now moving to extreme right from extreme left, and with much uncertainty on the future of the political scenario in most of the cases in our region. We also face lots of corruption at different levels in the government, but also in the private and the civil society sector. So the diminishing of the trust and the confidence among the different stakeholders is still there, and it is still a problem, which has led to a new kind of problem, not new, but reinforced problem on violence and organized crime. So we unfortunately see the solution of a little bit still far away, the solution of violence and organized crime due to drug trafficking, to the increase of high crime rates. We also see the degradation of the environmental and the affection of the climate change in different regions. which goes to the extreme drought in some areas and extreme rain in some others, which is now also pushing the economy to a different sort of challenge. We see also the huge challenge with migration and displacement. So many people who are now even climate migrants and people who are migrating because of violence. So it's also quite of a problem. In terms of just as Ferlin has said, in the aspect of health is also a challenge due to the pandemic. We haven't recovered entirely in so many places from our health systems haven't strengthened their capacities to be useful for so many people still. And that, of course, there's of course another issue on education and the developing on human capital, which is still, facing huge inequalities and huge trouble, especially in quality education. And also, well, inclusion in human rights, specifically for indigenous communities, which are they keep being excluded of the conversation and the decision making, and making so many decisions for them, and which is contrary to their own tradition and contrary to their own to the knowledge and the capabilities and the benefits that we can learn, and the wisdom that we can learn from these kinds of communities. So as you can see, it's a cocktail of so many different challenges and so many different problematic scenarios, but perhaps not taking only from that perspective, but also taking from the side of the opportunities and for the side of the assets that the Latin American region has in terms of the diverse tradition, very long-lasting traditions with elder people, with the indigenous communities, with the strong family bonds that are still present in so many families throughout the different regions and the different communities across Latin America. A vibrant youth culture, the demographic bonus that we still have in terms of youth, the resilience of the population, actually, besides and against all these challenges and opportunities, still the resilience of the community, especially the youth, who are looking for new opportunities and for future development, for creativity, for to have a global influence. So although there's so many different issues and so many different challenges, deep challenges, there's still sort of the hope for the future, the hope for building something that people will embrace and be more, not objects of transformation, but subjects of their own transformation. So we tend to feel that we're from the practitioner side, from the civil society organizational side, we feel that we're getting closer to one side of the pendulum, which will be harsh. It will be hard. It's going to be a difficult experience to have, but we are hopeful that we will get the energy, the power that we need, so we can face these opportunities with better capabilities, perhaps. In terms of the education system, just to give you a glance of how big the education challenge is in Mexico, we have more than 261,000 schools across the country. The private education only serves 13% of the population, so the public schools reaches 87%. We have 2 million teachers in Mexico. The teacher-student ratio goes from one teacher to serve 20 to 25 students. We have a little more than 36 million students in Mexico in the different levels of education, the different states of education. Only four out of those 36 millions, only a little more than 10% goes to higher education. So only 4.5 million students go to higher education. So there has been a huge dialogue and a huge discussion about access and education. Still, the quality of education is something that is still on a quest. In that sense, my own journey with education began a little more than 20 years ago. As Ines said, I have invested my last 20 years of my professional career in developing an organization, a civil society organization we call Via Educación, which is through education, recognizing education as a mean for new kinds of opportunities. The mission of the organization is to generate opportunities of social sustainable development through education, and our motto has to do with precisely unleashing the potential of society to transform itself, which actually I something very similar I read in the Nordic Secret books, which I found really interesting. I became a fan right away and wanted actually to know more about it. And last year I had a chance to visit actually Sweden and go to several fall schools and interview some directors and principals of the fall schools and meet with the other author of the book with Thomas Björkman, and try to see exactly what this Bildung notion means and how can a notion of that could be integrated in the Latin American and specifically in the Mexican sort of education tradition and the pathways that we're now seeing and we're now trying to build so more children can thrive in the future because of their education. So we decided to take on education for democratic citizenship because there has been a focus, a lot of attention put into reading and writing and do math, operations. However, the way we assess our education completely puts out of the way other kinds of aspects of human development that are really needed now. And not just the social emotional piece, which now after the COVID pandemic has been, we all know about what it means to have mental health. We've seen it, we look at that in different aspects, and we recognize the importance of it. But there's another bunch of qualities, another bunch of capacities that also have to be developed, not just from school, but also from family, from community interactions, from community engagement. And it is through that we're seeing that education as a more of a holistic, approach, and not just related to what one could learn from school. So just to give you a glance, we have worked on the initiatives on the renewal of the school culture together with Peter Senge, for instance, on a systems approach on building new relations to school, so people can be more consistent on what a good education could mean. We have worked together with the University of Barcelona on learning communities using dialogue to increase the kinds of cohesion that education needs in order to operate. We also work on different programs related to mentorship, especially with youth. We all know the importance of a mentor. Especially in youth, it's very important for them to build relations with mentors. So we have an initiative also on that. And we also have different initiatives on learning to participate and be more active in the transformation in your own environment. And we have been doing that for the last almost 15 years with really interesting programs. Just to give you an example, we trained more than 90% of the teachers on our own state, on middle school teachers. Those students of those teachers became the first and second generation voters who elected the first independent government in the history of the country. So it's not just about sort of concepts, but it's also about the kinds of interactions and the kinds of empowerment that you can build. And I will sum, because I know I need to finish now, but I will sum the importance of this on what we have found, like the importance of these 3 C's. How do we really pay attention in order to transform education systems? And I would say even any kind of system, but complex systems such as education. How do we really work on cohesion, which means the relationships, the linkages, the exchanges of values, exchanges of interest among people, to build commitment, which is the kind of accountability, the kinds of agreeing upon something that is important, and also, do what you're supposed to do in terms of that agreement to really happen. And lastly, to recognize the capacities and build the capacities that we need. So I would say that many of the interactions and many of the projects that we have developed for the Mexican and now for the Latin American region, they sort of have this as a DNA. And I would try to sort of relate that into the Bildung experience for the Nordic countries in the past and now in the future, because I truly see there's many similarities that we can sort of rely on and to continue learning from. So thank you. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be part of this movement now, and I'm super excited to hear your questions and comments.